Well, good morning. Welcome, everybody. We're going to make sure we got our technology working, and then we're going to jump in. Thank you for being here. All right, we are here. We're live. If not, let me know. I don't know how that would work, but thank you guys so much for carving out time in your busy schedule to join in a conversation with myself and Slavik. My name is Randall Littleton. I am one of the pastors at the Crossing here in St. Louis, Missouri, and I am honored, my goodness, honored to once again be able to sit with you, Slavik, and just really catch some updates. So I'm sure you're familiar, but just to make sure, Dr. Slavik Pyzh from Ukraine is here. You are the president of the Ukraine Baptist Theological Seminary, the Institute for Leadership and Coaching, and the WeCare centers, among other things. But those are the big buckets. Father, husband, soon to be grandpa. How exciting is that? So thank you for being here. It is always so humbling to get to sit with you. Yeah. So we're just going to jump in, but real quick if you're new to webinars, the bottom of your screen, there's a Q&A button. So if anything that we talk about, you have further questions about, drop that in that Q&A. And at the end, as we have time, we'll address as many as we can. And if not, we'll get back to you. We'll figure that out. But again, thanks for being here. So even as of yesterday, right? But this war has been going on for 4 years now. Give us real quickly, just give us an update. What is life like right now?
Well, thank you, Randall. Thank you for hosting this event and being part of that. And it's always a privilege for me to be with you and talk.
Yeah.
I like these dialogues. It might become our tradition.
Let's make it so.
Yeah. We will improve on it. We will move from war topics to something more encouraging.
God, please, yes.
So basically, this is our 4th year of war. In 10 days, we're gonna be remembering the first day of war, which was 4 years ago. I don't think, and I don't know that people would ever believe 4 years ago that we would have war for 4 years, but that's what's happening. Sadly, this winter was one of the most difficult through the war because first thing is the 4th winter of war, and so Russians been bombing us since the very first day of the war. But it also is one of the coldest winters that we have in the last, I don't know, 10 years maybe. And it actually, Russians were quite successful in destroying our power plants. And so the last months, and as I speak, it's still difficult. Like I was talking to my wife today, she didn't have electricity for like 16, 14 hours a day.
Yeah.
And that's not really bad because like in Kiev or Odessa or other places, they have electricity for like 2, 3 hours a day. So there's nothing to complain for us. We still have more than a few hours of electricity. And even today, as we were coming to this event, Lviv was under attack by Russians. They launched a couple of hypersonic missiles. Those are really nasty things because you don't really have time to go into shelter.
Yeah.
But luckily, they've been intercepted somehow. I don't know, maybe angels from heaven did that.
Yeah.
But somebody did. And so that's kind of a scoop of their life in Ukraine right now. Just give you one picture how it looks, not in Lviv, but like in Kiev. People put tents within their own apartments to have a place to warm up. That's how bad it is. And if you've been in cold, I mean, last week I was in Washington, which was really, really cold. So yesterday when we came to St. Louis, really nice weather, really warm. So when it's cold and you don't have hot food, warm food, you're only eating whatever is cold and you're living in cold, your life is pretty miserable, I would say.
Gosh.
So, if it targets your basic needs, it actually gets to you. And so I would say that most of the Ukrainians live this way around the country. But at the same time, we are strong in our spirit. And I know that Putin is trying to break our will, but it works just opposite to it.
Yeah. So under that backdrop, that's daily life for Ukraine. Seminary, though, is
It's blooming.
it's crushing it, right? I mean, they're thriving. And so give us a little update on the seminary. What's UBTS? What's up? What are we up to this year?
We up to like 1,200 students
Hmm.
altogether, which is amazing because before the war we had, I don't know, like 400, I guess. So
Yeah,
I would never imagine that kind of growth, student numbers at the seminary. But one of the most exciting thing that I've seen is when you observe these young people on campus and you see this vibrancy, you see this life, you see that each one of them have hope,
mm,
each one of them striving for something more than themselves. I actually have hope in young generation because when I look at my generation, I don't see a lot of hope or striving or desire to move forward and live. It's like, it's more on the decline inside. So
yeah,
that's probably one of the most exciting things. The last couple of weeks, we had tons of students on campus. Like, I don't know if you know, but our seminary it's a little bit different what is here. We have students coming for 1 week and we have these rotations. So
yeah,
even having 1,200 students altogether on every given week, we have between, 300, 3+, and the last 2 years, there was between 300 and 400 students because we had some of our WeCare teams also on
yeah.
campus.
So the seminary itself is growing and it's actually adjusting. So you've got these cohorts now that are
That's correct.
so the 1,200 students are not all there, right?
If that will show up there,
Right.
I'll probably run away from there.
Yeah. That's a ton of students.
And if you would see our campus, it probably will fit in your, I don't know, conference room, not sanctuary.
Yeah.
The sanctuary is probably bigger than our campus.
So these cohorts are there, but you've got the seminaries, got some new programs and things that you guys are really excited about.
Yes, we're extremely excited about two initiatives that we're starting this year for our undergraduate level for our young leaders. And one of them is theology of moral leadership.
Hmm.
And just in the name of that, of moral leadership, that's one of our biggest needs that we have.
Yeah.
Because if you look at Ukraine, I think that, when we talking about transformation of our nation, I don't think that we can transform our nation without transforming our leadership. And sadly, I don't think that this is number one thing for churches to address that issue as a transform leadership. And so that's one exciting thing that we putting together this year. Another thing that is really also another need that is really critical for us, we started an undergraduate program for counseling.
Yeah.
So because we already have a master level, graduate level, but now we want to start with undergrad so we can lead students through the whole path and enable them and equip them to minister to so many people. And in discussion, we're talking about chaplaincy for different ways of life, like in hospital, because it's not part of our culture.
Yeah. I mean, I love the emphasis on counseling, this emotional and spiritual health, especially, my goodness, on the backdrop of trauma and war. Like what an incredible need that program is.
Yes, yeah, and so when you look at all of that, another victory for me, when you have 1,200 students on campus and you have to have campus for them and you have to have, resources for them to study, and they only pay about 22% or 20% of their tuition. The rest has to be raised, and on average, it's about $1,500 a year tuition per student. But in spite of all these economical challenges that we have, God is faithful to provide all the scholarship support for those students through people like you, the ones that are part of this meeting. And so that's another testimony that even in the wartime, God is still faithful and allows us to bloom and move
Yeah.
forward. I think one of their biggest gifts that we have from him is hope,
Mm,
faith,
Yeah.
and love.
Yeah.
And so I think with hope, you have faith and all that together bound in love. And so you can move forward, not looking what is happening.
well, you've also got there's a new women's, master's.
Yeah, we
ministries
started
master's
with
program.
Eastern Theological Seminary. We launched our master program for women's ministries.
Yeah.
We have 17 students there, and I had a privilege to teach them the first week
Mhm.
theology. So it was quite interesting.
Yeah, the dorms are finished. Some of the dorms are finished. You got students living on campus. Is that right?
Almost.
Almost there? Okay, so we're
Almost
close
there.
with that.
We still, half of the dorms, for 107 students will be finished as we speak.
Okay,
Another half, needs to be finished, and that's another half is, is the last kind of piece for our campus, project.
Mm.
And I mean, I'm blown away because, the whole campus project is like $12 million. And most of that was built through wartime. We still need to raise like 1.5 million to complete that. But, if you look at what God have done, I think that He will find a way to help us to
Yeah,
complete
yeah.
what we need.
how many students did you graduate this last year?
Well, that's a good question. I would say, don't quote me on that because I usually like to exaggerate, but it's probably 600-700, something like that. In that
I just
range.
think that that's remarkable. Again, this is all under the backdrop of what's happening in the war and the country. The seminary is growing. You're graduating people. So this, and the seminaries had to adjust and growing the campus and cohorts, and like it's just pretty remarkable what's happening with the seminary.
Yeah, just the fact that we have a coffee shop at the seminary, that's a pretty remarkable thing.
Yeah.
How can you study without coffee
It's a good
shop?
coffee.
It's a good coffee. The only
Okay.
problem with that coffee shop is when you have like 350 students on campus, you have to wait when each one of them goes to a classroom so you can get a cup of coffee there.
There you go. There you go.
Because otherwise it's impossible to get there.
Yeah, you mentioned Southeastern, that the partnership with the women's thing, but you are a graduate, you have your PhD from Southwestern.
Yeah.
How, for those who might be familiar with the US seminary model, what's different about how the Ukraine seminary, give us some differences with that.
Okay, let me answering that question. I'll give you through the story. There's a guy by the name Vitaly. He's in our church ministry program. He's late 20s, I guess. He's married, and him and his wife are actually working on becoming a fostering family. But he came from a pretty rough times before, in his childhood and teenage years. And he's, when you walk on campus and you see him, it's a really interesting picture in front of you because he has a cross of the size like this. And then he doesn't have that many tattoos on him, but the way he's dressed is real different too. And so when you see him walking on the campus, you see the difference. I mean, that guy looks so different than everyone else. And so I talked to him, and he's doing ministry with teenagers. And the way what he done, he actually partnered with the city, and they gave him a piece of land in the park, and they put together I don't know how you call it, these boards on wheels, whatever they are, skateboarding, I guess, or
sure.
rollers or whatever. And so they build this place for them to come to skateboarding.
Okay.
And that's where he has his ministry. And you would be surprised, but they on average have like 50 of teenagers,
Okay.
mostly boys, listening to him. And so he's studying at the seminary. He's a student, I think he's in the second year or maybe third year. And him being there, he's not being prepared for the ministry. He's already in ministry.
He's doing it.
Yeah, he's doing that.
Yeah.
And while doing that, he's getting equipped.
Yeah.
And so I think this is one of the biggest things, the differences it was when you compare US seminars and Ukrainian seminar, most of our students, they're not gonna be vocational ministers because we don't have that.
Yeah.
It's all bivocational. You have to do something and then you do ministry. And most of them come to the seminary while they doing something. Even church planting, that's
Sure.
the way it works. You know, people planting churches and studying at the
So
same
it's
time.
not theory.
No.
They're in the thick of it.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I love that. So help me understand, what's the difference between, tell me the difference between the seminary and this Institute for Leadership and Coaching. Are they related? Are they two separate? Like, what's the difference there?
I mean, at the seminary, we have undergraduate level and graduate level. Those are our concentration. We have some of certificate levels, but we created Institute of Leadership and Coaching specifically for certificate level programs.
Okay.
For those that cannot commit 4 years or 3 years or whatever years into studying. And at that institute, we run roughly through a year about 2,000 people.
Oh, wow.
So that's but the thing with them, it's very difficult to give you exact number because some programs are like 3 months long, some are 6 months long. And so, but roughly it's about 2,000 people there. And it's usually older people, what I mean older, not in their early 20s, they're like in mid 30s and 40s. And so I like, I'll just give you another example of one lady. Her name is Yuda, and so she's a part. We actually offering two programs there, two certificate level programs, which are extremely successful. Is working with veterans and their families, and at these programs, they are open to anyone. You don't need to be a believer, or you don't need to be a Baptist or whatever. So they open for anyone, and we have all kinds of people. To the degree that we had to put a that's gonna sound funny, but that's the case. We had to put a smoking place outside the seminary buildings.
Okay.
Could go and smoke there.
Sure.
Because I was walking down the steps at the entrance, and I've seen a couple of ladies standing and smoking there.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. The first thing, I was a bit confused myself because I mean I don't know all the programs that we have. But so I asked people, just can you put something like on the side where people just go and that's kind of the thing, that these programs bring all kinds of people into the seminary. And sadly, a lot of people at that particular program, they are for veterans, and a lot of them do not have limbs. And Yulia, she started the ministry for those families and for veterans. And so when you see her crowd, when you see a picture of people that she is serving, usually those are young guys, but with no limbs. Like we have one student, he has only one arm and nothing else. And so she's dealing with a very difficult life situations for the families, as well as veterans who are trying to come back.
Yeah.
And what she's doing, the way she's organizing all that, she's organized a retreat, kind of a program for them where they come to the mountains and they have 1 week long retreats. And she's hoping to raise money to build a retreat center and have these families there to helping them to cope with reality.
Yeah.
She cannot change the reality for them.
Sure.
But at least she can help them to cope, and that's what ILC is for.
So I love, there's a lot of things you need to be teaching our seminary system. We have a great seminary system, but I love that certificate level, because these are what I'm hearing.
And she's like in her mid-30s.
Yeah, so she's not going after a seminary degree. She's not trying to get her master's she's just wanting to be better equipped to do the ministry that God's called her to do. And here you guys are stepping in that to give training in a theological base. And
her husband, going back to that story, her husband is a military. He's in service, active service right now. So she's the one that knows the burden of all these ladies. She's the one that knows the burden of veterans too, because she lives with the husband.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what ILC is designed for, is to provide needed equipment or tools for those that are serving people in their normal life.
Yeah, because again, they're doing it, right?
Yeah.
They're in the thick of it, and they're
Correct.
ministering where God has called them in their neighborhood with their passions, and you're coming alongside them.
Yeah, and that's only one story. I mean, yeah,
Oh, sure.
tons of these stories, and we have one team from one church, so they are extremely involved in helping the city, what we call social ministry,
Mm.
and so the whole class in that program consists out of that team, which is like 15 of them.
Yeah.
That pastor and all his church people there in that program trying to learn how to develop communities. So that's
yeah.
a little bit different aspect. But
Yeah. So I remember we talked a long time ago about how the seminary in those early days, those early months of the war, pivoted into like humanitarian aid, and like we got to serve our people, and through that, many of you guys will probably know that these, what we call these WeCare centers, popped up throughout the country. That's another big initiative that you guys are in. How have they kind of changed over the years? What's the status now of our WeCare centers?
Yeah, that's our WeCare centers. Sadly, it's kind of outcome of this war, but we believe in God that redeems evil for something good and great.
Yeah.
And so I think WeCare is something good and great.
I was gonna say it is being redeemed. I mean,
Yes.
this is, you guys are stepping into
Yeah.
that space. Yeah.
So it's not only when you think about war, yeah, you think about evil that war brings, but also you can utilize that and use that as an opportunity to serve people. And I think this is what our WeCare centers are really, really good at doing.
Mhm.
Right now we have, I believe, 26 of them.
Okay.
So we started with 17, now we're up to 26, and they cover the whole nation. Roughly, they work between 30 and 35,000 people on a monthly basis.
Wow. Across the country.
Across the country,
Yeah,
all
yeah.
of them. And what happens with them is that quite often these WeCare centers, especially in the east of the country, they're the last one to leave the city if they need to be relocated. We actually had one WeCare center that we relocated from the Donetsk region, from their city of Drushkivka to central Ukraine. And director of the WeCare center is Hada. And so I don't know if those people that watching us, if they've seen the video, but it's one of those videos when she said that how can we leave all these people here without hope? And so, but they had to be moved because that city is a front line right now. Yeah. But there's another WeCare center, and the lady that runs that WeCare center, her name is Natalia, and that center is in the city of Nikopol. Just for you to understand what the city of Nikopol is, I don't know if you read about Yugoslavian war.
A little bit, yeah.
But they had this street where people would go and get fresh water, and that would have snipers to kill these people. Yeah. This is pretty much the same thing with Nikopol. The only difference is that Russians using drones to hunt people. Yeah. And they still live there. And Natalia, she's talking about 500 people that show up at their center every day. 200 of them show up just to get food. 300 show up to get clean water. Mm. And now, in addition to all of that, we have winter with freezing cold, yeah, no electricity, no heating, and that's what WeCare Center is doing there. And they will be the last one to move out of that city. And so even I spoke with some of their team members, those that are younger and having family, they have to move outside the city because drones have the range. They cannot go like that far if they are small drones. Yeah. And so they come into the city and serve these people, and some of the team members live in the city. But it's just ridiculous just listening to them, how they live in under these conditions.
Yeah.
And they remain there because they are that beacon of hope, love, and,
Yeah.
and care to
Well,
those
that's
people.
what you've been talking about is hope, and that's in a very real, tangible way. They are that beacon of hope.
Yeah, and if you take all these WeCare centers, we have them in Kharkiv, in Zaporizhia, and
Yeah.
Donetsk region, and it's like, well, we have one in Kherson, which for me, those are my heroes.
Mm,
The lady that runs that, she has a girl who's, I think, like 1 year old, maybe a year and a half, and she still lives there.
Mm.
And in her son city, for you to understand the way they're trying to protect from these drones, they put nets over the roads. So at least when they walk to the store, so they would not be killed by it. And it's like on a regular basis. And they still live there with small children
yeah.
serving those people.
Yeah.
And so every time when I meet her, I just blown away by her.
Well, and what a testimony that like you said, they'll be the last to leave.
Yeah.
Cause it would make sense that people would be finding other places to live or to shelter but the fact that they're just committed to the people.
Yeah, that's the case. And that's, I think, the ingenuity that they use where they live in and how they live in and how they serve people.
Yes.
It's just, it's difficult to explain that.
Yeah, but to be clear, they're not a church.
No, they're not the church, but at the same time, all of them connected to local churches.
But they're connected to the local church they're
Some
serving.
of them, this particular year, we actually, I mean, this is not the first year, but out of these WeCare centers, just this year, we launched 7 new churches. With the help of Ukraine Baptist Church. They supporting some of these church planters and these church plants. And, they popping out like in all different places. Like one of the churches that we have is in the city of Tarhachi, which is really close to Kharkiv. And it's to the front line from that church, I don't know, it's probably less than 10 miles.
Yeah.
And even the name of the church is the Frontline Church.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
Because, I mean, in the good weather, you can see a front line.
Yeah, yeah.
It's and those WeCare centers, they bring Christ, and for me, the excitement is to see that Matthew 25 being fulfilled. Yeah. When I was hungry, he fed me. When I was thirsty, he gave me water. When I was in the hospital, he visited me.
Yeah.
So that's what WeCare centers are.
Yeah, I love the interconnectivity. So they're not the local church per se, but man, are they connected and helping to birth.
Yeah, and I think what they achieving really effectively, compared to the churches, the biggest issue that most of the churches have is to generate more new people. That's kind of the number one for a lot of churches, how to get to people, how to generate that new number of people. And with WeCare centers, it's just opposite because all of the people that come to them, 99% are not church people.
Yeah. And
so they generate in that large number of people that they can share love and gospel with them and point them out to the church or even plant a church themselves.
Well, you and I were talking, several years ago now about when we had no idea that we'd be 4 years in, but how as a result of the war, one of the vacuums, if you will, would be local churches, pastors, right? So I love the fact that you guys are that we're launching new churches in this. I mean, talk about the unfortunate opportunity, right? So talk a little bit about keep going about that, about the launching of new churches and planting of new churches.
Yeah, like one of our WeCare centers in Kryvyi Rih, they launched a new church a couple of years ago for soccer players. But the thing about that particular center, they have a lady by the name Lydia, And she moved to that city in 22 when the war started because she was living in the Donetsk region. And within that church, I mean, within that WeCare center, they call it shelter. She started a ministry for people 60 plus. I mean, because what happens, and this is one of the things that we don't think about quite often, that the most weakest are the first victims of war.
Yeah.
And what I'm talking about, elderly people, sick people, young people, you know, kids, those are the ones that are on, they remain under great pressure and they have to struggle with things. And so she started a ministry with these older people, bringing them hope in life. And as a result of that, they actually became part of that new church plant at that WeCare center. Another thing that is really blowing my mind was these church plants. We have a church plant in Vinnytsia, it's a kind of central Ukraine. And they started, I don't know, about a year ago or something. And they already outgrown all the facilities they have. I don't know how many people they baptized, probably, I don't know, 50 or 60 just in 1 year or whatever. I don't know the number. But I know that they're looking for a new place. And the thing is about these new church plants, that all the church planters, they're not professional church planters.
Yeah.
Some of them didn't even know that they can plant a church. And that particular case is kind of example of that. And so now they're doing that well that they looking for a bigger place to, you know, to accommodate all these people that come into them. So I think when you responding to the need of people, when you are really Christ in flesh, you don't have any issues finding people. They will find you. I mean, that's one of the unique things about Christ. You know, when you think about Christ, he was always followed by crowds of people.
Yeah.
When you think about Christians, quite often these crowds of people are running away from Christians. They're not following. I mean, you don't really have a door slamming of crowds of people coming to churches. But if you take these church plants and WeCare, that's what happens. People find them and they come themselves.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest difference is maybe we, as Christians, as Christ followers, maybe we forgot how to love people. Because I think this is the only reason why people follow Christ is because he was the one that really was caring about them and loving them.
Yeah.
And this is what I see in a lot of these church plants and WeCare in these difficult places and difficult situations. People are coming and nobody's forcing them to come because they come in because they know that they be in love.
Yeah.
And I think this is one of the key components for the seminary because, you know, we have identified 3 values: biblical, missional, accountable. And in our definition, in our vocabulary, being biblical is actually loving God and loving your neighbor. That's being biblical.
Yes, it is.
And I think this is one of our victories, I would say. People come to the seminary, especially young people come to the seminary because they see sincerity of our staff and care. It doesn't mean that we don't have issues. We do have issues, but you know, at the same time, you don't need to force people to come if they feel that they've been loved.
Yeah.
And that's what happened not only at the seminary, but in all these church plants and WeCare.
Yeah.
Centers.
Okay. Well, we talked about a lot. Jeff, if there's anything coming through, just let me know. So if the Q&A button at the bottom, if you have any questions about what we've been talking about, put it in there. You can also do that after this if things kind of come to mind. We talked about a lot. Let's talk dream a little bit. Share us your dreams a little bit. What does 26 look like with WeCare centers? With just fill us in on what your thoughts and dreams and prayers are for this next year.
This year started really difficult
Mm.
with their winter and cold and constant attacks and things like that. But also this year is the fourth year of war. And a first year of war, we had so many people coming on board and helping with our issues that sometimes we didn't even know what to do with all that. That's not the case in the fourth year.
Right.
One of our key supporters, they already told us that we're gonna lose half of their support, which is like $300,000 for our WeCare centers. And we will have to supply it somehow. And we started with 17 WeCare centers, now we're up to 26. And that's not the limit of what we can do, but we are limited in the resources that we have.
Yeah.
And on one side, we will have to work much harder to provide resources to these WeCare centers as well as scholarships for students. But on the other side, doing that, we have a track record that God was faithful throughout these years, and we step into this difficult year with the hope that He will provide. And that's probably one of the things that I would like to ask our listeners. If you know anyone who would be willing to partner with us in the ministries that I'm talking about, please let us know somehow, because we need those new partners. But another thing where I would ask you to pray for, this is fourth year of war. My people are tired.
Yeah. Can't imagine.
They are extremely tired. I'm tired myself, but looking at my team, looking at their WeCare teams, looking at all the people, we're extremely tired. So, and I know that God will help us to go through because we don't have any other option as to move forward. But we really need people. We really need people that can continue to strive and move forward. And that's one of the greatest prayer need that I have for this year.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, as you're talking, I'm just I'm sorry, and I cannot imagine your team, your team, and the level of stress, the level of trauma, while doing incredible things. I mean, the stories that you're telling are remarkable. Even if it was not in the context of war, those are remarkable stories, right? Of what God's doing through you, through the team, the way you're caring for people, the advancement of trainings and biblical understanding and equipping of people. Like, those are remarkable stories by themselves. You put that in the context of the backdrop of 4 years, it's really miraculous. It kind of goes from really great God stories to miraculous God stories. So there's nothing I can say that's going to make things better, right? But what I'm hearing you say is your team needs encouragement. Your team needs.
Yeah, sadly, maybe not sadly, but the way God does His miracles, He always uses people.
Yeah.
And so the reason we are successful in doing what we're doing is because of the partners we have.
Right.
Those are real people that made a real decision to support us in a difficult time. And we have real people on the ground that decided to stay in Ukraine, that decided to serve people. And that's kind of what is happening. And the thing that really helps me personally to move is to observe some of their lives and see what these people do in their lives. There's a girl that is actually our graduate. She graduated from our Christian counseling program, and she's young. I mean, she's probably in her mid-20s. Her name is Valeria, and she lives in it's the city of Chernivtsi. It's kind of on the border with Romania. far away from war. But in that young age, she felt the call to serve to mentally handicapped teenagers.
Wow.
And she herself raised $36,000 to put together a shelter for them. Because when these kids get out of their orphanages, they put into institutional facilities and they usually do not live for a long time.
Yeah.
And so she created she took them out of there and created that safe place, trying to integrate them into their, real life. And when you look at that girl, I mean, she has nothing. I mean, but what she has everything. She has a dream.
Yeah.
And she does that. And when you have these many people with these kind of dreams around you, and you see how they do not stop but push forward whatever it takes. I mean, from a just human standpoint, it's impossible. But I don't think that from her standpoint, it's impossible. It's quite possible.
Yeah.
And so when I look at Ukraine and when I look at everything, what is happening, we all have a dream. And that dream is for that stupid war to be over as soon as possible. But at the same time, we would like to see our nation to be a different nation, us to be different people.
Right.
And we becoming different people, I believe.
Yeah. Well,
People that love God and people that live according to the law of the land. And I think that this is our dream, this is our vision. And when I look at these people, they transform Ukraine one by one, step by step. And I'm grateful that I can be a witness of that because I think this is real life.
You told me a while back, and maybe I'm sure the number is different now, but what's the percentage? You keep talking about your teams. These teams are the ones who stayed. Tell me, what's the number of just population wise that are no longer in Ukraine?
It's about 8 million.
So around 8 million people have moved
Left, yeah.
have moved out of Ukraine.
Yeah, before the war, we were roughly about 40 million.
Okay.
Now we are roughly about 30 million.
Yeah. So, which makes sense, right? I mean, you're trying to protect your family. You've got to find. It makes sense, but that's another thing for me that you keep saying. These are the ones who stayed.
Yeah.
And I don't think we should gloss over that because they didn't have to, right? Like these are the ones that maybe they didn't have as many options, or maybe there's realities there, but they're the ones who stayed.
One thing that they have, I mean, I don't know how many of them, what was reason for them to stay, but they didn't take their life as a fate.
Mm.
What I think that all of them had is the sense of home.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's your home, where can you move out of your home?
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things that I keep telling people here in the States when they're talking about Ukraine stopping the war. I mean, we all are ready for that war to be stopped. But when somebody gets into your house trying to kill you and trying to run you out of your home, how can you leave your home?
Yeah.
Where are you gonna go?
Gosh. Yeah.
So that's I think one of the things that I see in these people. They have this sense of home,
Yeah,
and presence, and that place that we call home, Ukraine. So
yeah. Well, hey, as we kind of turn a corner and start to head for home here, you've listed already a number of ways that we, us stateside, can come alongside. And I mean, I'm just going to say this for you, but the chief among them is funding, right? There's a lot of opportunities. That's really, and you've got the personnel. I mean, again, you're training these leaders, these pastors, these church planters. It's not necessarily a shortage of people. It's really there's some funding realities, right?
Yeah.
Especially, and I know that stateside we have our own challenges and economic things that we're all individually and corporately working with. And I mean, I hate to hear that part of the big funding, somebody said, hey, we can't do that anymore for whatever reason.
Oh, maybe they created a space for somebody else to jump into it.
Yeah, so let's just put that on the top of the prayer list of things that we need to be praying for is for funding of the continuation of the training of pastors and leaders, the expansion and the maintaining of these WeCare centers. And then the crazy number of just people that are, again, this isn't theory, they're doing the work. And then the other thing I heard you say over and over again is just you didn't quite say it like this, but I can imagine the feeling of isolation and the feeling of being alone. And so any way that we stateside can come alongside and just remind people that they're not alone. So Jeff, you were telling me that one of the best ways that you guys can do that, if you want to send a note of encouragement, is do that via email. So info@upfmissions.org. That's kind of the home base for the stateside foundation that is, coming alongside the seminary in Slavik here. But just email some notes. The website, right, there's a lot of stories on there. There's some resources, there's some videos. Join I'm sure you're already on the mailing list, right? Because that's how you got on I'm sure you're there, but spread the word, right? Invite other people to just be a part of championing, encouraging, even if you can't financially jump in. It's on my list now I got to type some emails because I heard some remarkable stories that I want to remind these heroes that they're not alone, that there's a whole bunch of people across the globe who are praying, who are championing, and who I just want to remind that they're not alone, that they are doing holy work. So we'll get to some of that information if you forget, but that's those are really two of the main things that I just heard is like, man, we need to keep praying for the continuation of funding. And man, let's rally together to just flood them with encouragement of hope, and you're not alone, and we are standing with, and we are praying with. I don't know how I'm going to stop a war, right? I don't know it seems out of my control because it is. But one thing in my control is I can just, as best as possible, I can link arms with people who are doing the work.
Thank you.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you would have us, again, as we kind of wrap for home here, anything else that you'd have us pray for? Again, there's some specific things, some specific people and stories that are on the website. You've listed a handful of things, but any other big picture, what else do we need to be just top of mind?
No, those two areas would be sufficient. I mean, we expecting spring to come, so weather's gonna get a little warmer.
There you go. It's been a weird winter in St. Louis. But I cannot imagine having to have a tent inside your home to help you stay warm.
It's pretty rough.
Yeah, so we'll pray for an early spring then even. Okay. I just check in with the team over here. Anything else we need to cover? Or do we kind of okay?
We have I pray every day. This is from Jill. I pray every day for the Lord to bring about an end to this war and the aggressor nation not be rewarded. Only the Lord can do this. I also pray every day for UBTS, ILC, WeCare Center, and the church to be encouraged and see the Lord working in their lives.
Yeah. Jill, thank you for praying. I don't know if hopefully you got to hear that, but just keep praying for the end of that war and for the encouragement of the seminary. Yeah, top of mind every day. Thank you, Jill. Thank you. Okay. I'll tell you what, I'm going to pray. Thank you for being here. It's always so good to see you. It's always so humbling to see you. Let me pray. Jesus, I echo Jill's prayer. God, we do pray for an end of this war. I don't know how that's going to happen. I don't know what geopolitical maneuvers need to happen, God, but you are the one in control, and we trust you. God, I thank you that even in the midst of this, you are faithful and you are good. And that is evidenced by the amazing stories that are blooming out of a desolate war. Thank you for the men and women who of Ukraine, who this is not theory for, but they are expanding your kingdom. They are loving their neighbors. They are planting churches. They are proclaiming the gospel, and the number of people in Ukraine that are coming to faith in you, Jesus, is humbling. God, may we stateside take our brothers and sisters' lead. May we also be in the trenches doing the work and proclaiming your name. Gosh, I'm just as Slavik said, God, may we, just as you had, and the people of Ukraine have people following, God, may we examine our own lives, and may we be a beacon of hope, just like our brothers and sisters are in their land. Thank you for the encouragement that is to me. God, may we now, in really practical ways, champion and encourage Slavik and his team. God, bring funding, bring the resources, the funding resources that are needed to continue to expand the work that's happening, the aid that is happening, the hope that is happening. God, bring people into this sphere of conversation that can fund these efforts in very real ways, God. The trauma that is being experienced, God, only your healing can help with that. So God, bring relief, bring rest to Slavik and the team. Encourage them. God, may we be a part of that encouragement. God, prompt us all to not just pray, but also put pen to paper, emails to inboxes of prayers and hope that our brothers and sisters will know that they're not alone, that we stand with them and we link arms as best as we can in as many ways as we can. I'm so grateful, one, for your faithfulness, but also for the faithfulness of your people and for the people of Ukraine. Protect them. May an early spring happen, bring warmth, literal warmth, and hope to your people. May your kingdom expand in Ukraine. And may we look back one day on this moment and see your goodness and faithfulness of how you brought your kingdom here on earth. Thank you that you invite us into amazing things. Thank you again for what you're doing. And it's in your name, Jesus, that we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Hey, thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for carving time out. If you're watching this later, thank you for again carving time out to be a part of this conversation. Reach out to us, info@upfmissions.org. That's where you can send those emails, but also help us spread the word and invite more people into this conversation. Can't wait till we get to sit down again and tell more stories and of God's goodness and your
I hope that
faithfulness.
the next meeting is gonna be a celebration.
Let's pray to that end. All right. Thank you, guys.